right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bake Sale episode 5. Yeah, and I got my man J-Dub up in the house here, and I be the man
sir.
Moods. And Jay, man, I got a question for you like I do every episode.
All right, I'm going to try to answer this one.
What are we cooking up this week?
Some goddamn shortcakes.
That's right.
Have the strawberries. Get the strawberries on these shortcakes.
Right. Yeah, man. So we're cooking up some shortcakes tonight, and you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck is a shortcake? Well, if you've ever tuned into any of our episodes or heard us talk in the past, you know, in recent years, the new album has become very, very short. So that's what we're calling these short albums, or these albums these days, shortcakes. So we got a couple of shortcakes for y'all tonight. Basically, you know, I mean, if you're new to, you know, us talking about albums and stuff like that, like, I mean, a lot of albums nowadays are like 8, 9, 10 tracks, 30 minutes. Those are going to be the shortcakes. So for tonight, man,
we have an extra shortcake on this one. So
yeah, right. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know. Like, how do you even call that an EP? Like, it makes sense to call like this first one like an EP, or, you know, short album, whatever you want to call it. But like, it feels like a sampler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we went digging in the vaults, and we decided to do Milano and Showbiz's new album, Eaten But Still Hungry, and the new UFO Fev and Frank the Butcher, The Thrill. So a couple of shortcakes for y'all. But before we get into the albums, man, we gotta talk about some stuff. We haven't put up an episode in about 3 weeks, and since our last episode, man, we've had some heartache, man, in the hip hop world, man. It's been going down, man, going down. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It is really crazy. Like, this 2021, as we all know, has been a tough year for everybody, you know, with what's going on in the world. But it's been getting tougher, you know, for hip hop heads and people in this community and stuff. And, you know, we lost some big names in the last couple of weeks, and 5 to date this year. And, you know, recently, rest in peace to DMX. Black Rob and Shock G, all within like a week of each other. Like, it's pretty wild, man. And earlier in the year, we lost Prince Marky D and Ecstasy from Houdini. So some very, very notable names. Of course, DMX, you know, I mean, that one was, you know, I'm not gonna say it was shocking, because DMX has battled with, you know, his life with drugs and things like that. But it still is shocking when someone of his stature goes, you know, that energy, it's no longer going to be around. And it's just very, very sad, man. What's your history with DMX? Were you a DMX fan back in the day, or are you still a DMX? Or
I really wasn't. No, I mean, I liked a couple of his songs, but I never really got into DMX. Just wasn't my style at the time. So I actually have a couple of his albums as well. Like pretty much everybody does. But yeah, I was never really a huge fan of DMX. But definitely the impact. He did have a huge impact, though, and everybody knows who DMX is.
Right.
And then a few years ago when he did that, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer shit, like everybody was talking about DMX again, and you know, kind of the battles he's had with drugs is very sad. So even though he was in the hospital, it's one of those things you don't expect. Like when you hear that he actually did pass away, it's like, God damn.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah, man. Sad. You know, I was a fan of DMX back in the day a little bit, and you know, he kind of phased out for me in the mid 2000s stuff. But you know, DMX definitely holds a special place in hip hop history, because I think he's the only artist ever to drop 2 platinum albums within a 12-month span of each other. His first 2 records went platinum, which is, you know, it's quite a feat. You know, even in those days, albums were selling, but to drop 2 platinum albums within a year is something special. You know, but. You know, I mean, you like him or not, you know, I mean, I wasn't the hugest DMX fan, but I respected what he did. I always liked DMX. I always liked his energy and what he stood for and stuff. He always came with it all the time and stuff. Music-wise, wasn't my personal favorite, but I mean, everybody's not for everybody. That's just the way it is and stuff. But, you know, the Black Rob thing, man, wasn't really overly surprised. He has been sick for a little while. So that kind of sucks. So, you know, rest in peace to Black Rob and stuff. I mean, I was never the biggest Black Rob. I feel like I'm just going to go on I'm not the biggest fan of everyone, but no. But Black Rob was a guy that I always liked. I felt like a lot of the artists that were signed to Bad Boy throughout the years were in the wrong spot in their careers. You know, I always felt like that with Biggie too, man. Like, Biggie was more of a street rapper, but Puffy made him into like a fucking glam shot. You know what I'm saying? And I always feel like Black Rob, and same with the Locks. Like, Locks didn't fit in there, man. You know, like they went on to do their shit after Bad Boy and shit. But Black Rob, you know, Whoa is a classic single. I don't care what anyone says. That shit still bangs to this day, man. It's it's a banger, man.
Yeah, that song was everywhere back in the day. But yeah, definitely a classic.
Yeah, so rest in peace to Black Rob. And you know, the biggest one for me, man, was Shock G, dude. Humpty, man, from Digital Underground, dude. Like I was shocked because this was obviously a shock to everybody because it was sudden, and I don't think we even know the details of it. I know he was found.
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I didn't hear.
Yeah, I didn't, go on the net or just before we got on to see if there was some details, but I know he was found dead in his hotel room, and it's just sad, dude. He was like 57 years old. I don't know if it was it was drugs related. I don't know what his history is with the drugs and stuff like that, but Shock G was honestly very musically inclined. He was kind of a genius, man. Like the Digital Underground stuff was dope, dude. I swear everyone's soundtrack in the year 1991 was Sex Packets, man. That summer, like if you weren't jamming to Humpty Dance, but the whole record was fucking dope, man. People seem to forget how good Sex Packets actually was, man. Like that.
Oh yeah.
It was a really, really good album. And the thing about Digital Underground that I always liked is their music was so funky. It was so like, it was very George Clinton influences, and I like that type of stuff, but it was fun. It wasn't like overly goofy and silly, but it was fun ass music, Shock G always brought that flavor and shit, and they were very consistent throughout the 90s. They kind of officially broke up in the mid 2000s and stuff like that, but Shock G, man, I've been seeing a lot of posts, rest in peace to Shock G, and almost every single post had me kind of fuming because everyone was like, this man, was monumental in Tupac's career, and that was it. And I'm like, guys, Shock G was Shock G, man.
He did other things,
He did a lot of things, man. Yes, he was a very big part in Tupac's, in the early years of Tupac and stuff, putting him on with Digital Underground, dancing, and, on same old songs, things like that. Yeah, he had a big part in that and stuff, but you got to remember it's also Shock G and Digital Underground, man. They were doing big fucking things themselves, and shit like that, but man, dude.
Yeah, Digital Underground definitely, like, as we've talked about before, growing up in Canada and Much Music and Rap City, like when I really started getting into rap music is because of Rap City mostly initially, and Do What You Like was played on there all the time.
Right.
And I always thought that was such a funny ass video. And man, I loved Digital Underground when I was a kid. Me and my friends all used to have their tapes and shit. So it's pretty shocking, like you said, that he had passed away, because I didn't expect that at all. I was just on Twitter and I saw it and I was like, oh shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, no big pun intended there, right? It was a shock. But I mean, to be honest, it really was, though. I mean, and all three of these deaths have something in common. Like pretty much everybody recently, man, they're all relatively young. Like no one is old and decrepit and shit. Like everyone's, I mean, we're in our early 40s and stuff, and it gets to that point where you're like, holy shit, man, this is getting fucking real. Like we're getting to the ages where a lot of these guys, like we're approaching those ages. Even when Sean Price passed away, that shit fucking still to this day is never actually, it's never, I can't comprehend that Sean P isn't there anymore, because his catalog is just so ridiculous. I'm still finding songs that he's featured on today. Guy is like a, cameo king kind of thing, but him being,
and they're still putting out new material with him, so which is, it's crazy, but that Sean Price one really messed with me, man. Like that of all of anybody that's passed away in the hip hop world in the last few years, that was one that really hit me pretty bad. So.
Yeah, the two for me were Sean Price and Doom was shocking too, and the Doom one is still weird. It's still hard to digest because it was just so odd how it was given to us. But the Sean P thing was like, I mean, the guy had never seemed to fully peak. Every time you thought he was peaking, he would just get better and better and better, and all of a sudden I'll never forget the tweet from his wife, and she's like, my husband's dead. And I'm like, that's how you told people? Like, it literally was that more. I was like, my God. Like, I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. But I couldn't process that properly, even to this day. Like, I was listening to Sean P earlier today while I was working out, and I was like, man, this guy is just like, it was a mix of, Sean P cameo or like, guest appearances. And there were some songs on there I hadn't heard before, and I was like, Jesus, these verses are so sick, man. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous, man. He's just, man, just so many rest in pieces in the last few years. It's just been hitting hard, man. Hitting fucking hard.
It sucks to, start the show like this well, but I mean, you have to talk about it. So yeah, it's crazy shit.
It is true, man. It is true. But yeah, again, rest in peace to DMX, Black Rob, and Shock G, man, just dropping, man. Legends are dropping, man. So, But yeah, with that said, it's probably the longest intro we've ever really had before, to be honest. But do you want to get into these shortcakes? Yeah.
Indeed. Let's do it.
Let's do these shortcakes up. All right, so first album up here for this episode 5 here on the Bake Sale is the new Milano and Showbiz Eating But Still Hungry. I guess, I mean, it's supposed to be classified as an album. I'm going to say EP because it's literally like 21 minutes long. It's 8 songs, 21 minutes long.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've had some people say to me like, man, do you hate, you know, these albums because they're so short and stuff? I'm like, no. I said the problem is with these these type of albums is that they always leave me wanting a lot more. I feel like I'm kind of ripped off a little bit. I'm like, damn, dude, like this shit's going so well. Why did it have to end? You know?
Yeah, that's the thing when they get together, especially if it's just it's the one producer and one MC, which you're a big fan of. And if things are going well, it's like it's over so fast. It's like, why didn't you just make a few more tracks and make a full album?
You know, it's so true, man. It's so true. But, you know, it's kind of funny, too, because you look at Milano, who's been putting out lots of work in, you know, the last couple of years and stuff. He's been really hitting it hard, man. Like The Way We Were or Way We Are, what was in 2017. I love that record that came out. He did another one with Showbiz Boulevard Author in 19.
Yeah.
And then he dropped the Believers, which Showbiz was all over the production on that. But what I'm getting at is that, you know, those were shorter records, but then the Believers was a double disc, and each disc was like long, right? So it's like he used up a ton of material just for that kind of project, and then went back to doing kind of these shorties. But
did you hear that one Rated in Blood that he did with who was it, Buddy Bag Ben? I think it was at the end. It was just at the end of last year.
I don't think I did, actually. I'm not even sure if I even saw it come out.
Because I didn't listen to that until maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and it is good, man. It's like 90s boom bap, hard, heavy shit mostly, and there's a lot of good scratching on it as well. So I think you would definitely get into that if you check it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely right up my alley, man, because Milano's one of those cats that I find that fits that hard boom bap style and like the showbiz type beats and like that kind of realm of beat making so well because... which kind of leads me into the title of the album, which is Eating But Still Hungry. You know, Milano's been doing it a few years now and stuff, but the thing I like about this record and Milano in general is that the title actually makes sense, Eating But Still Hungry, because he fucking sounds vicious, dude. He sounds hungry. He sounds like he's trying to do this shit for real. He's writing dope bars. He's coming correct on every song. The beats are dope. Like, I don't know, man. It really does work. It's a great title for somebody that's putting in a lot of work and putting out these projects and staying relevant in a time where it's really, really hard to stay relevant. But, you know, he's definitely the guy holding down DITC these days. You know, Showbiz and Milano, man, fuck. Keep doing your thing, really. But...
Yeah, I mean, I love Milano's voice. I like his delivery. His rhymes are, you know, he doesn't, you know, there's not like a lot of hidden messages or anything in his rhymes. He's just like a lot of times just boasting and shit. But I like that. It's fun, right? So
yeah, well, that's the thing. That I mean, he kind of, I wouldn't say he reminds me of Sean P, but Sean P was, you know, a little bit humorous too, but you know, did a lot of boasting, right? But he also did to the point where it was comedic too, right? Like, you know, I do features on whack ass rappers' albums just for the money. Like he says shit
just
like,
for the money, yeah.
Yeah, it just says the funniest shit, man. But Milano, you're right though. Milano's topics are stuff we've heard in the past before, but his energy and his delivery and flow really does work along with these amazing showbiz beats, man. Showbiz has been doing it a long time, and he's managed to, you know, have different sounds throughout his career. I mean, early 90s to the boom bap in the 90s or mid 90s to like, you know, the 2000s, like they changed and always stayed really, really relevant with the sounds and shit. And man, his producing and mixing is really good, man. Like he's finding some good sounds and shit and putting some really good stuff together. So, but, you got anything else on the record?
No, I was just to say, like in the first track of Kavili Champ, like that's a typical Showbiz. Like it's like the doo doo. It's like little stabs in there. It's like doo doo. It's like it sounds like the typical Showbiz type of shit. But he expands on that later on in the album, if you want to call it an album, with different style beats. It's pretty cool. I really like the production on this a lot.
I think instead of, you know, having this argument, what is it, an album or an EP? We'll just refer to these clearly as shortcakes on the shortcake. On the shortcake, all right. But yeah, so the first song is called Kavili Champ, and have you actually seen the video for this? He has a video for this song. All right.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, actually. I think it was. Yeah, Yeah, he's got the Roberto Cavalli fucking sweater and shit on. It's probably cost like $1,000 or something.
Right. I was actually laughing about it because I mean the video is pretty basic. It's just like him playing pool and him just rapping to the camera, really wearing his skin tight hoodies and shit. I could not get over how tight those fucking hoodies were on him. It actually made me laugh. I was like, damn, dude.
It's gotta be tighter, boys.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was a funny one.
But yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, man. The first beat on here by Showbiz is so Showbiz. Like it just really sets it kind of sets the stage for the album and what you're gonna hear and expect from track to track from Showbiz. Because I mean, like you said, there's a couple tracks in here are a little bit different, but for the most part, most of the stuff is very Showbiz.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like the first two tracks. Those beats are like you can tell they're Showbiz beats for sure.
Right.
But I like on this one he starts it out with saying like he writes them with $1,000 pens.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of it is just him boasting about shit and like saying but it's good time.
He's basically just representing the clothing line. It seems like and just like bragging that he wears the shit the best. But it's kind of funny because in the video it's like. I'm laughing at myself. I'm loving the beat. I'm loving the lyrics. I'm loving the flow and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that shit is like 2 sizes too small for you, man.
Yeah,
it's so small.
It's the style, man. He's fitting in with the style now, right?
I could never ever bring myself to wear a hoodie that was so tight on me. Like I wear hoodies because like they're big and they're comfy.
Hoodies are like comfy, right? It's
right.
Like, but I don't know.
Is that
I don't know who the maybe it's just the fashion coordinator on the video shoot, right? It's like.
It could
all right,
be.
you got to play pool in this hoodie. It's got to be 8 times too small. I know it might split when you try to hit this shot, but you got to do it, man. It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids, man. It's for the kids.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, man, the skin tight hoodies is like the new skinny jeans?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm thinking anyway. If I see it, I'll just have to look for it on the streets of Halifax, see what the kids are wearing.
Right. Yeah, man. I just never understood. Like, I've been dressing the same since, like, 1989. Backwards hats and T-shirts and baggy pants. Is like,
Basically, my whole life, I've been...
Yeah, I've never changed.
I've basically been wearing hoodies and hats and T-shirts for, like, my whole life, so... Yeah.
Like, never changed, man.
No.
But, but honestly, the style never goes away because it's so simplistic, but it's just like, oh, yeah. It's always there. It's just always a style, right? So... But yeah, Kavili Champ, man, dope track though, man, dope track, and it's it's Milano boasting and shit, but it's dope though, man. It's a great song to start off the shortcake, and it's only one verse. I think it's just one long verse for the track too. I think. Yeah. And then done, kind of beat out. So. Really dope though. I love the bass line in that track though, man. The chops are really good. The production is slick though. It sounds really good. It's mixed really well too. So actually, I don't want to repeat that for every song, but the whole thing is mixed really well. Showbiz knows what the fuck.
The whole
he's doing.
Shortcake. They mixed the shortcake really well.
The whole shortcake. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that.
Whole shortcake.
Next song is a song called Bank Stopper. Oh, and one thing I will actually mention before we get too far into this, there's no features on the record. It's just Milano.
Yeah.
It's literally Milano and Showbiz. So instead of saying there's no features on here, there's no features on any song. So, Bank Stopper, got a pretty cool trumpet sample in there. This track, I feel like he was finding like 70s like string samples, and I feel like he sampled a lot of 70s records and just 70s sounds for this album. That the whole thing just has this it flows so well in that era. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he pulled out all these sounds and all these stops from that era and just put it into these and kind of made it like a little bit new age, but that's what I feel like, man. This one kind of takes me back to the 70s big time. It's cool. Yeah, he's got the horns in there on this one, like the Showbiz horns. So yeah, man, it's typical, like you said, it's typical Showbiz shit. Yeah, man. Actually, one thing about this record that I was a little bit disappointed with, and I know Showbiz doesn't generally do a whole lot of it. I mean, he has in the past, but it's not that prevalent in his music, but is have scratching on there. Having someone come in and do something just to kind of change up, the pace of the album too. Just put some different kind of sounds in there and stuff. But yeah, there is no scratching in this record at all. No features, no scratching, which is kind of interesting. But we will say, if you're unfamiliar with Showbiz, the whole album has drums.
Yeah, and on this track, Milano is like, shit, I murdered a native Chippewa. So
Right.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, man, the drums on pretty much every track, like you said, they're top notch, really crispy. So good stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is just like braggadocious, like showstopper shit right here, man. I love it, man. It's a fucking kind of a hype track on here. I think it's a dope track though, man. It's good. Moving into track 3, which is called "Come On," and he samples a loop, or you have like a vocal sample saying "Come On," and I'm not sure where that's from.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I'm not sure where
like
it's from.
Over and over through the whole track.
I feel like it's from the 70s
I'm
again.
not sure.
I feel like it's from the 70s.
I assume, I assume it would be.
But it goes good with
this track's only like 2 minutes long. This is a short one.
Yeah, man. I know. It's another one long verse, and it's kind of a cool track though, man, because he's basically just talking about shit like, like why the fuck is it like that? Come on, he's kind of bringing up shit like that, and but it works well.
Yeah, the streets don't play fair.
No, man, come on. It's cool, man. So pretty much everything he says, they put in the sample of "Come On" and shit. It's cool. It's kind of a different pace for Showbiz to do a vocal sample like that throughout a track and stuff. But again, it's just one long verse. He didn't really. I mean, he did choruses on here, but not a lot. Yeah,
it's like sort of like a hard beat with a soft side to it. It's kind of a nice mixture. I like the vocal sample in there. It's pretty cool. Worked well.
Right. Yeah, I actually really like this track, man. It kind of stuck out to me at first. I thought it was pretty interesting, but again, short. It's really short. So next one is a song called Gin Rummy. Jesus, can't talk. This beat is like fucking fire, man. I like this one, man.
Yeah, a lot more layers on this one. It's a nice smooth beat with a layered bit more. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, man. It's like straight mob shit. It's like the streets aren't a game, man. I mean, it's literally referring to the title Gin Rummy, man. Like the streets aren't a game, and it's a hard street track and stuff, but it's cool because it's a structured song. It's got a verse, chorus kind of thing. It's fully structured song, but it's literally a street content and stuff, but it's cool, man. I think it fucking flows well. The chorus is cool. Great track, man. Really, really great track. This one kind of was a showstopper for me. But yeah, I like this track as well, and I like it's kind of funny you mentioned Joe Namath in this track, and then the next track 5, is Broadway Joe, which is Joe Namath's nickname. Everybody called him, and they have like commentary off football guys on there talking about Joe Namath and shit. So
right.
It's kind of weird. He's got this thing going on with Joe Namath. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the connection is there.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure there too. I mean, with the next song, which Broadway Joe, I mean, he's, obviously the Joe Namath reference is kind of referring to, himself too. And, but yeah, no, he does mention, I think he does that. Does he do that a couple times? Oh no, he mentions Danny Iola just in one track. I was thinking he does that too also, but yeah, Gin Rummy, and then leads into track 5, which is Broadway Joe, which we just mentioned, and it's kind of a song about like the road that was paved for him. He's kind of throwing it back to that a little bit and stuff, and how he's winning, like how he's winning in the game now, which is the reference to Joe Namath, who is obviously a football gamer, right? So pretty cool, man. Verse, there's like a sample in the middle of the track, and then another verse, not really a chorus, I guess, more of a sample thing, but pretty cool track. I mean,
yeah, it sounds like sort of like a gangster movie type style beat, like it would be something like that. But yeah, it's a really cool beat, I thought.
Yeah, like that gangster kind of like almost like blaxploitation type beat, 70s. Like he's really got that going on throughout this record, man. It could have been a theme to this, man. If he had been on the cover, like like an old school blaxploitation flick and stuff, you would have thought that was the theme of the record, was to do a throwback blaxploitation type soundtrack with lyrics, kind of thing. So.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
But yeah, cool track though, man. I like the content and giving it up to the road that was paved for him and shit. It's pretty cool. Which leads into track 6, which is Night and Day. What did you think about this track?
Man, I love this track. Like, and the way it went from Broadway Joe into this, it's almost like a beat switch, like from Broadway Joe to Night and Day for me.
Yeah.
And I thought this beat was probably my favorite on the album. This is really good. It's like it lifts the mood of everything. All of a sudden, it's like you're listening to Broadway Joe, and then it's just like it's like the sky clears, you see the sunlight. It's nice, just a uplifting type of beat,
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's got that like bubbly bass line thing going on for it, man, with some dope strings and shit. Even actually, oddly enough, he mentions DMX in this song. when he says, what do you say, DMX bikes doing tricks or something like that. He's talking about, I think in one of the videos, in one of the DMX videos where I think they're riding some type of bikes or something. I can picture it right now. I can't remember what song it is right now, but I can picture the video. I think they're more quad. What I'm picturing is quads. Maybe he's referring to them as bikes. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But it's like an old school sounding song, man. Another track with like one long ass verse in it. This was the track that I actually thought at the end of it, where they could have fucking done a scratch hook or something at the end of it, would have been kind of cool. It's more of like a living lavishly kind of track and stuff. And this is the song that he mentions, Danny Iola. And if you're not sure who Danny Iola is, man, like if you saw what he looked like, you'd be like, oh, I know that guy. And then you look up his filmography, you'd be like, oh my God, he's in like millions of movies. But Do the Right Thing is probably what a lot of people remember him from. Do the Right Thing is fucking classic. But this is a cool track, man. I really like the switch over from Broadway Joe into this. It's great, man. This album, or this Shortcake flows. There, I did it again. It's good shit though.
Yeah, a lot more, it's boasting shit on here. He's like saying I got a godly flow type of things, But it's one of my, it's my favorite track on the album. This one. Yeah,
he's definitely talking about is the shit that he has, and he's bragging about it pretty good. But I think the beat fucking recognizes those lyrics quite well, with that bubble. I love those bubbly bass lines, man. They're dope. So, track 7 is called "On My Father." Now this was an interesting track because when the track first started, I immediately thought of Anita Baker, "Will You Be Mine" sample. CMW made that sample popular with Late Night Hype, and of course millions of other people have sampled this song, but I always think of Late Night Hype by CMW. Compton's Most Wanted, for the people that don't know that. But yeah, like instantly it just does it not remind you? It's not sampled from it, but it sounds exactly like the Anita Baker "Will You Be Mine" like song.
And this is like continuing on with like the 70s smooth R&B funk styling shit. It's like he was definitely pulling out some good stuff on the Shortcake, I should say, not the album. Yeah, I apologize. The Shortcake.
This is a cool track, man, because it's very personal to him. It's called "On My Father" and stuff. He gives it up to his parents and stuff, and he's basically talking about how his parents, the shit that they had to deal with and stuff, and that he deals with and shit, and how they did well for him, and the struggles. He even mentions democracy. He gets a little bit political in this a little bit, right? He talks about the democracy and how it's all fucked up and shit, but it's kind of cool, man. He gets personal on this, which he doesn't really do up until this point that much. He talks about streets, braggadocious shit, but this one felt like it was kind of placed on the album good. He did what he needed to do with the bragging rights and the street tracks and stuff, and then he's like, "Okay, fuck, I need to take this to my heart." So he gives it up to his parents, basically, and really, really cool father sample in there. I'm not sure what that.
And he saved the more topical songs for the end of this Shortcake. It's like track 7 and 8 were more topical stuff. So the first, he got, he braggadocious shit out of the way, and then he's like, all right, we'll drop some science on him here. But yeah, it's I like this as well, man. Like, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's a dope track, man. I really feel this shit, man. It's like a verse, chorus. It's a structured track with deep meaning to it and stuff. But it's cool, man. Like I said, though, it reminds me of Anita Baker, hands down. You know what I'm saying? It's like, right. But it's super chill, man. And
he had a couple good lines on here.
Yeah, I think the beat is so perfect for the lyrics. Again, everything just flows so well in the Shortcake, man. It's crazy. So
yeah. And then to close it out, track 8, "Save the Children." Another quite short track. It's only 2 minutes and 25 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah,
pretty short stuff.
It is, man. It's got like those 70 strings in it. He's doing it for his kids, man. He's talking about his kids. He goes from his parents to his kids in here, so he kind of completes the full circle there, the circle of life kind of thing. And it's one long verse, and he kind of talks it out and stuff. It is short, but I mean, why not? Why not leave the album on a high note, on a happy note too, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a good closer of all the tracks. This is, perfect closer for it. And he's like you said, it's talking about his kids and stuff, saying he's got to do what he got to do for his babies and never break when they apply pressure stuff. So it's kind of motivational, doing what you got to do type of thing. So
Yeah.
Definitely a good closer.
Yeah, it definitely works. It definitely works because I couldn't imagine this being anywhere else in the shortcake at all. You know, it's like it just I feel like, again, going back to it, the structure of this record just feels it's such an enjoyable 21 minutes. It really is an enjoyable 21 minutes. There's not a track on here I don't like. You know, I can listen to this one straight through.
Yeah, no.
It plays out really
no
well.
Skips for me on this either.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, overall thoughts on the record, man. Milano and Showbiz, they're a great combination. They've done a lot of good work together. I hope they continue to do. I'm sure they will, because DITC doesn't really have the hugest lineup of artists and stuff, and they seem to work well together. So, But yeah, again, going back to the title, I think he's representative of the title, man. He comes hungry, you know, over these amazing sampled beats and shit like that. It's got that 70s feel. I really like it, man. I like the fact that Milano's, you know, he's aggressive, but he's not belligerent. He's not saying stupid ass shit. You know, he's not even that explicit at all. Like, I don't even think his albums even warrant a parental advisory sign kind of thing, right? He just sounds really damn good. He's a talented MC that I don't really hear get mentioned a lot. Hopefully he gets, you know, a little bit more recognition, because he's put out a lot of fire in the last like 5-6 years, man. It's pretty crazy. You know, I feel like this is kind of like when we were talking about Your Old Droog a few years ago, and everyone's like, who the fuck is Droog? You know, I think people might be getting on him now because he's got that catalog, right? He's got the catalog, but overall, man, I think it's a really, really, it's a bumper, dude. Like, I like rolling around listening to these shits, man. Like, I'm glad that Showbiz is still putting out fucking hot shit like this, man, because Showbiz and AG was my shit in the 90s, man. Well, we even did that on Disposable Arts, man. We did the Showbiz and AG first record, right? So but
definitely. But yeah, if anyone hasn't heard of Milano, or, you know, even Showbiz for that matter, definitely check this out, because like you said, it's only like 20 minutes long, so you can just blast through this and you can listen to it multiple times. You don't even realize it started over sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, definitely give it a shot. And if you like this, then I would say listen to Write It in Blood as well, that he produced by Body Bag Ben, because that album is definitely top notch. I'm sorry I missed that last year, but glad I heard it now.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and find that one. I didn't even actually know about that. But yeah, no, he's fucking dope, man. He's dope. So rating on this first shortcake.
For this shortcake, I'm rolling with an 8 on this.
You know, these shortcakes, they're hard to rate because they're just so damn short, right? But I mean, I guess
it's like you could easily say it's too short to give it a high rating, but I mean, I enjoyed the whole thing, so I have to give it a high rating. So
yeah, no, I agree, man. It's definitely worthy of a high rating. I'm gonna come in at also an 8 out of 10 on this one. I think it works very, very well. I honestly, you know, if they were going to keep it, you know, at 8 tracks and stuff, maybe some of the songs could have actually benefited from another verse, you know, just to pep it up another 8-9 minutes, you know, because there is a lot of one long verses on here. There's, you know, like I said, there's maybe like 3 structured tracks on here with choruses and stuff, but a lot of long verses, which I am a big fan of. I do like the long verse as long as it's entertaining and stuff, but, you know, overall, really, really solid project. I'm assuming that DITC is probably dropping a physical this sometime. I would assume they're pretty good about dropping physicals, but now really. it's getting to the point where you just never know anymore now. So, with that said, 3 tracks.
Top 3 for me, I would go with Broadway Joe, Night and Day. I just kind of like that combination, how they went into each other. I thought that was awesome. And then probably go with On My Father as the 3rd track.
You know, it's crazy, man. Like, we've done shortcakes before on here, and there's been like 8 songs, and we've had 3 different songs. You know, like, what are the chances of us, you know, picking almost every song? But we're pretty far off on this one too, man. My first one is Gin Rummy, into Kavili Champ, and On My Father is my 3rd one too. It's crazy. We have we got one. We have very similar tastes, but we're so far off on so many things. It's incredible. But that's what I love about, you know, doing these and talking hip hop, man. It's like, you know, like we were talking about Beneficence the other day, and he's like, it puts Jay to fucking sleep, and I love him. You know, I mean, he even mentions that he's monotone.
He puts me to sleep. I wouldn't say he puts me to sleep, but it's just I don't know what it is. I just find him kind of boring. Like, it just kind of bores me listening to him. But I mean, I like him. He's a good rapper and everything. It's just I I just can't listen to his album repeatedly or anything.
It's crazy, man. Like when Sidewalk Science came out, man, like, and even the album after that and shit, like every song was just like fire, but every song had like scratching on it and shit. I was like, holy fuck. Cause like at the time, people weren't doing records like that. Like the scratching hadn't fully come back.
Yeah.
You know, you hear it a lot more now and stuff, but like I was like just shocked. I was like, wow, that's a lot of scratching on a record. That's just unusual.
And I started listening to him because you mentioned him, right? And I saw he was doing features with Mass Dace and stuff, so I was like, yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad rapper. I'm not saying he's a bad rapper. It's just for me personally, my personal taste is his delivery doesn't pique my interest really.
Yeah, it's like Skyzoo to me, man. I like Skyzoo. I like what he's saying and stuff, but like he loses my interest all the time.
Skyzoo's the classic example. A lot of people say that about Skyzoo. I definitely get that with him.
But if you listen to the albums, he always has good beats on his records. Are always enjoyable. But then you start listening to him, and you're like, okay. And then I tune out. Like I never get through like the second or third verse. It's like Jesus, man. I don't know what it is, and I feel bad because I like him, but I can't do it all the time, but I seem to buy all his albums. It's like I don't know what it is, man. But yeah, Beneficence, he even mentions like, you know, his monotone fucking flow and stuff. Like I don't think he's that monotone. Like you'd mentioned that, and I thought that was kind of funny. But I personally don't think he must have heard it from someone else too. That, you know, they've mentioned his flow being monotone to put that into his lyrics, kind of thing, right? But
yeah,
I honestly
that
don't.
Was funny. We were discussing it, and I just mentioned like his voice is like kind of monotone. It just doesn't do it for me. And then I was listening to his album like the first way through. Yeah. And on track 2, he mentions I can't remember the exact lyric, but I sent it to you. I was like, holy shit, this is hilarious. He's like, something about his building his empire with a monotone style or something like that. But,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get where that's coming from, but I don't think it's overly that monotone. But that's just me. But
yeah.
Anyways, so that is Milano and Showbiz-Eating, but Still Hungry from 2021. Moving along into the second shortcake for the night, and it is UFO Fev and Frank the Butcher, The Thrill. So UFO Fev put out a project last year. He put out, I guess you want to call it a shortcake with Static Selecta. Was it last year? I think it was last year. I don't know.
He put out an album with Big Ghost last year. Towards the end of the year, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he put out a couple projects. It might have been last year, might have been the year before. Maybe Static Selecta put out like 10 projects in the last like 2 years. It's like, and they're all short. It's great. Like so many different MCs, but I wasn't overly feeling that record because Static's beats have been a little bit stagnant for myself, and I didn't think UFO Fev sounded that great on there. And I'm glad that you mentioned this because you're like, yo, let's do this short little one, man. We'll call this episode Shortcakes Volume 1. And I'm like, okay, so I'll give UFO Fev another chance. I haven't really dug him too much until this. Now, this is a frustrating listen, man, because all I wanted was another, like, 30 minutes of this, man. I loved Frank the Butcher's beats on here. They were arranged and mixed so fucking awesomely, man. Like, awesomely? Yeah. What am I, like, 5? They were just amazingly mixed, and I love the pan. I love the way he mixes in, and the sounds are so damn eerie. It's a dark record, but UFO sounded great on these because he comes correct with these lyrics, man. Like I'm actually feeling what he's saying on every track and stuff. He's telling stories, you know. He's talking about the music bit. Like it's a really cool, interesting record. Unfortunately, it's only 14 minutes long. 6 songs, 14 minutes. So. First track is called The Thrill. Of course it is. Thoughts on The Thrill?
The Thrill. Well, it has, I mean, like you said, the Frank the Butcher beats, man, on this. Like, I haven't heard Frank the Butcher. I mean, you hear his name, and I don't know. I heard his name before. He's involved with sneakers. I think he works for Reebok or something. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I haven't heard anything production-wise from him for a long-ass time. I know he did some videos and stuff. He does so many different things. But, yeah man, this has really cool piano. It's like a spacey-type feel. A lot of it, I find, does have a spacey-type feel to the beats. Right. But definitely way more layered than, like, anything that Showbiz did on the shortcake we just talked about. So, yeah, definitely very impressed by the beats, mainly, more than anything, because I didn't know what to expect coming into it, really.
Yeah, it's an interesting first track, man, because, I mean, you know, structurally, it's really interesting because the first beat is, like, super haunting. It's like this really haunting kind of beat and stuff, and it's about basically he's talking about a girl. He's basically talking about a girl.
The first verse, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a chorus. Funny. Then there's kind of a chorus, and then he goes into the second verse, which kind of makes sense why the content changes up too, because the beat actually kind of changes, or the sample changes. The sample changes, and then he's basically he starts going into braggadocious shit, rapping around rappers and and shit like that. It's kind of a weird structure to a song, but it is. But it is. It kind of works because the sample changes to the point where it's like, okay, so I'll talk about the chick on the first verse, and I'll talk about fucking up rappers on the second verse, but he did it in a way that at first I was like, what the fuck is he just taking verses from his notebook and throwing them in here? And then when I re-listened to it the second time, I was like, oh shit, totally, man. He changed the sample changes. It's like two shortcakes in one shortcake, one big shortcake. I know.
Yeah, like after I listened to it a few times, it's like, am I missing some connection between the lyrics? Like, is he connecting this story about this girl? Like, he's saying like she met LeBron, like fuck minimum wage, she fucks rappers now. Shorty found a role she could play, right. And then in the second verse, it's like he turns into beast battle mode, and he's like, just ripping, saying like, these other rappers have nothing for him, basically. So
right.
Yeah, man, I didn't get it. I was like, but then like you said, it does switch. So I'm assuming that's what he did as well. He just like switched it on him. So
yeah. But oddly, it works, because generally when you hear stuff like that, you're like, okay, I don't understand what the hell you're trying to do here. But if there wasn't the sample change there, I would have been like, okay, I don't understand what he's fucking doing on this record at all. But at the end of the day, it made sense for me. I thought it was just a really cool track, man. Really, really cool track. So
yeah, definitely a good way to kick things off.
Yeah, really cool, man. And then it kind of set the stage. I was like, okay, are we gonna get this whole kind of spacey, like dark, fucking haunting type shit? And then it goes into Fever Business, which is essentially a track about the music business. They're talking about the music business. It's talking about the underground scene. It's talking about record labels and stuff. And you better just you better think about the business before you commit getting into it and stuff like that. A lot of people, they take these advances and they go buy some stupid shit and you can't pay your bills. It's about being in the record business and being smart in the record business and other things and stuff. So I really like tracks like this because I love songs where rappers are talking about the music biz. I think that's super cool because you get to know that he understands this shit. It's not just these fucking these internet rappers and shit are just putting out shit. They don't give a fuck about anything, but he's really got an eye for the business. He wants to understand, he wants to be in it, he wants to do it properly, and he's letting people know that if you don't do it properly, this is what fucking happens, man. You can't pay your bills, you get fucked, kind of thing. Exactly. So but then it's also about knowing that shit in the music business fucking most people really I mean, essentially we know, man. I mean, even in the underground business now, and you got like Spotify. He talks about Spotify, like really paying fucking pennies. They don't pay shit. The record labels don't give you shit anymore. But now the way the industry's gone is it's gone to streams, it's gone to digital format and stuff. And now he's basically saying now they're fucking the shit out of us too. We can't even make money off this shit. And we got millions of streams and we're getting, a brand new pair of Nikes. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that line he has, like, labels used to sell dreams, now everything is streams, and execs start looking depressed. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, dude. I love the chorus in this track, man. Making music for the streets. They don't pay us for the streams.
Yeah,
man. It's fucking dope, dude. It's super dope. Like,
the beat's pretty dramatic on this as well. It fits in nicely with it.
Yeah, the panning of the samples at the beginning are super sick, dude. Like, did you listen to this with headphones on at all? The mixing's really dope. Yeah, the mixing's really dope, dude. He just does it, and it sounds good. Like, it's really fresh. It's really clean. It's like polished, but it has like this dark. It's really hard to explain. You have to almost hear this to believe, because a lot of this, when you hear this dark production, usually it's a little bit dusty. It doesn't come across like that. It's very polished, but it's polished in a good way, in like a really good way. It sounds good. So, mad props for Frank the Butcher for the production on this, man. And Fev came awesome. Fever Business is killer for myself. So.
Yeah, I believe it's Fev, UFO Fev.
Is it Fev?
That's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. UFO Fev. Yeah, well, that's the thing nowadays. It's like, with everything being on the internet and stuff like that, you don't see like interviews, you don't see people talking on Rap City and, you know, the basement and shit like that, right? We don't actually hear people say people's fucking MC names anymore. It's like,
yeah, I think I just heard him say it, so that's like how I knew how to.
Maybe it is feed. Yeah, totally right. That makes sense now. I just whatever. Yeah, I'm not good with names, so.
Yeah, I know. I just figured that if you kept saying it, somebody would point it out in the comments too. So maybe they probably don't know either, though. They probably don't know who the fuck he is. So.
Right. So track 3 is called Balance. It's kind of ironic a little bit. Like this is like the middle track on the record, and it's called Balance, and it feels like a short little filler track, but it's actually really cool though. It is.
Yeah, I mean it's a minute and a half long, but I loved it.
Like he changes up
really
his flow.
Cool, just baseline stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, the beat's dope, but he changes his flow completely on this. He's going for this weird kind of like off double time thing. It's strange. Like I said, it's like $1.50 or $1.50 or whatever it is, but
yeah,
it's cool, man. It you know, I like though it's like right in the middle of the record, got that balance, you know. So.
Yeah, and he's just talking about basically how to appeal to a wide variety of people in your audience, right? But the most important is to appeal to the bitches.
Right.
You gotta remember the bitches.
Right. So. Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, and this is a perfect track coming off Fever Business too, because, you know, he's talking about, you know, the pros and cons of the music business and stuff like that. And then he gets into this specific topic about, you know, the content that you're going to make. You know, a lot of people make music. They can be one track minded, you know, like say you're just making sex rhymes, the whole record, like you're just appealing to this group of people right here, or you're making these fucking poppy fucking, you know, tutti frutti records and shit, and you're appealing over here. Make a balance. You know, you can do a sex rhyme, you can do a fucking, you know, like maybe a mainstream track, you can do that, a variety of content. Keep that balance, man. You know,
it's hard to do it in 6 tracks though. That's the problem. And the funny thing is, one of the tracks is actually like an interlude. So yeah. Man, it's like they squeezed in like an interlude in this thing.
Hence the 14 minutes, right? Hence the 14 minutes. Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, it is what it is, man. It's like a little kind of let you know thing. It's short, but it moves into track 4, which is called Something Happened, which is another track kind of like Fever Business. He's telling stories. He's literally telling stories in this one. It's 2 verses. It's like a verse, kind of like a talk break verse, but he tells 2 different type stories in this, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of like the thrill a little bit, where he's telling 2 different things, but they don't have to be connected because he's telling specific stories, like Something Happened. I like this idea. I like this.
It is a good idea. Yeah.
I would have loved to have had a 3rd verse on this to hear another story, because like the first one is, you know, about how he was basically cooking up drugs and they were about to fuck him up, and then you know, Uncle walked in and showed him how to do it, so he kind of saved the day, saved the money. And then the second one is more or less kind of a story about, you know, divine intervention, where, you know, dude's gun jams and stuff. And essentially the fact of the matter is something happens in this club and they didn't get shot. Like they would have been shot if the gun didn't jam, hence divine intervention kind of thing. I like that. I would have loved to have heard a 3rd verse in this, you know, to extend this, because you could always just write a short little fucking 16-bar story again, you know. It's like, but
even in the future, you could have like Something Happened 2 or something, like to have more stories, like, because these are both like you said, they're sort of stories from his youth where, you know, something bad could have happened, but it turned out all right in the end. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
But this on this, man, this is like a 70s Motown type of beat. And I thought I heard a harp in here. And the funny story, man, like I was like, is that a harp? And I kept listening to it with my headphones. So then I go on YouTube and I start looking at harp videos. And next thing you know, I'm listening to harps for like an hour straight. Then I was thinking, then I seriously started thinking, man, I want to get a harp.
Nice.
So I looked and they said like a full size harp is like $20,000, and I'm like, holy shit, I guess I'm not getting a harp. I'll just stick to bass, man. Like harps are out of my league here. Like holy fuck.
Holy Christ, man! Who would have thought that a harp would be fucking $20,000, man?
I know, man. I was watching this girl and she was just going to town on this harp, and I'm like, this is friggin' impressive, man. Like, I actually wanted to learn how to play harp there for a minute.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, see, this track is
Something Happened.
Something Happened, yeah, man. I like the idea, though, having a Something Happened to, and then kind of ... me for like a sequel kind of thing. Something happened to me. Yeah. But yeah, the beat on here is interesting because it kind of feels like the Happy Feels song on the record with these kind of interesting kind of downer. I mean, one's about, you know, making drugs, and the other one's about almost getting shot, but the beat is like, but I love that though, man. I love that shit, man. You know, when you put dark lyrics over like happy beats, because sometimes people don't listen to what you're saying, they hear the beat, or sometimes it's the other way around. You don't really, it's kind of funny how that works, but I like that. I've always been a big fan of doing shit like that, so yeah, cool track.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it leads into track 5, which is called Inner Space, and it's literally just an interlude. You know, it's like, you know, it's, I think he's basically, they're kind of talking about just be careful who you let into your space kind of thing, and it's
he's just speaking on the track, like saying, be careful you letting in your inner space, you know, they'll mess up your outer space or whatever type of thing. And then it leads into outer space. But the beat on this is pretty cool though. It's like it's a cool interlude for sure. Yeah,
it's actually really cool, man. I really dug it. It's a perfect kind of lead into outer space, like you said. I like the fact that they mentioned Posse on Broadway. Love that track, man. By Mix-a-Lot. It's fucking dope. Again, you know, rest in peace to Doom, but there's a really cool line in here where it says, rest in peace to Doom, we brought the mask out. I love that shit, man. But this is a dope track, dude. Like, I love the piano loop in this. You know me, every time they had certain piano loops and shit into dark beats, I love that shit, dude. Piano and dark, oh, it's so cool, man. It's a verse, chorus, verse song. It's structured. You know, it's kind of a cool track, man. It kind of has a play on like Fever Business a little bit, you know, kind of making it, you know, it's you know, the struggle of making it from kind of looking almost in a sense of like from being on the inside looking out, you know, trying to make it out there, you know, kind of thing. Or you could vice versa that too, but it's kind of cool how he words it though. The lyrics are cool in this track. So
yeah, I mean the beat on this, like I said, is really dope piano loop, and it does have a sort of a spacey feel to it as well. I know I mentioned that earlier, and this, you know, the track's called Outer Space, so it definitely fits for me. But this is one of my favorite tracks on there as well, so definitely good shit. Yep. Yeah,
it's dope shit, man. Really good way to end it. But again, you know, my overall thoughts on the record, I think it's really dope. I love the production. The mixing's really good. I think Fev, UFO Fev, he comes really correct with the lyrics. I think it's really fun. You know, the personal stuff. You got the, you know, the talk about the music biz, which I always respect, man. I love to talk about the music biz and shit. But for me, all like what happens to me by the end of this short little cake is it feels like a sampler to me. It literally feels like a sample of an album, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, where the fuck is the rest of, like, 14 minutes is crazy short. I mean, we're complaining about these 28-minute ones, but this is half that time. You know, it's so short. It just kind of, I really do want more from this. I would love to hear a full-length record with material like this. I hope this is just a prelude to a full-length record, because if this is what we have in store for a full-length, holy shit, dude, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, and I mean, UFO Fev, he's just getting started. He's pretty young in his career, so definitely very impressive. And I hope to hear more from Frank the Butcher as well, because this is definitely top-notch production. Yeah,
for someone I wasn't overly familiar with the production side, I was very impressed with what he did with this, man. It's really cool. It's something you got to hear. I mean, you know, like I said, going back to the Milano and Showbiz record, man, I mean, total, this is 35 minutes of your life. I mean, these reviews are probably longer. You could have spent the time listening to the records, man, for instead of, you know, listening to this whole thing. So,
I hope we're half the entertainment that these shortcakes are. So
these shortcakes. These are fun to do. They're fun to do. And no, we're not complaining that they're short. It's just sometimes you just want more if it's good. I mean, I've listened to some shortcakes, you know, over the past couple of years that have been absolute horrendous trash bags, man. I'm just like, I can't even, like, even for like a 20-minute record or shortcake, I can't even get through it. I'm just like, this is horrible. So but yeah, though, I recommend these. What's your rating on this one?
This one I'm going 7.5.
I'm actually into 7.5 too. Wow, bang on the ratings today.
Yeah, we got the ratings right on.
Yep. What do you got for 3 tracks?
Now, this is going to be hard for us to get too many of these wrong, because, I mean, technically there are 5 tracks on this thing.
I thought the same thing.
So I'm going with The Thrill, Balance, and Outer Space.
That is absolutely incredible, man. So Fever Business is my first one, and The Thrill is second, and Outer Space is third.
Oh, okay. All right, so you only messed up one there, so that's not bad.
Yeah. I actually had The Thrill first for like the longest time, man. It's just because it caught me off guard when I first started listening to this. When you recommended we do this, I was like, okay, and then right away I was like, holy shit, fucking beat is so dope, dude. I was not expecting this at all, And I was just like, damn, dude, so cool. And it came at a perfect time because it was so different than everything I was listening to at the time, right? Which is, the last couple weeks. But yeah, good stuff though, man. Good stuff.
But yeah, if you have a chance, you should check out that one he did with Big Ghost. I think what was it? It's Ghost of Albizu. I think it's called Ghost of Albizu. So yeah, it's really, really dope, man.
Right.
Definitely recommend that.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out because that's the one I haven't heard from Milano. So, but yeah,
that's the Fev one. Yeah, that one with Big Ghost.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really highly recommend the Static Selecta project. I wasn't really a big fan of that one.
I didn't hear that one.
Like most of the projects in the last couple of years, I mean, they're just, I don't know, they're getting tiresome, man. They're just getting tiresome.
Yeah.
Too much material, man. So, yeah. But I guess that's probably gonna do it for.
That's it, man.
Episode 5, man. Episode 5 of the Bake Sale. Hope you guys enjoyed these little shortcake reviews. We do know what we're doing next show. If you wanted to announce that.
We'll just hold on to it. We'll let them see what it is when they find the video.
Okay.
Leave the interest, but it is an old school jam.
It is an old school record. Yeah, we'll leave you with that. So there's millions of those to choose from. So.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be a fun one. It'll be a fun conversation, I think. So.
So what you waiting for?
Right. Yeah, that's going to do it, man. Episode 5 here of the Bake Sale. We'll check you guys when we are back. Probably maybe in a couple weeks, I'm assuming. So.
Yeah, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
2 or 3
probably
weeks.
2 weeks, though. We'll aim for 2. How about that?
Yeah, we'll aim for 2 weeks, man. Cool.
2 weeks.
All right, guys. It was fun baking it up. Deuces.